This report comes at a very sensitive time, as you noted, in U.S.-Saudi relations. In today's New York Times, the headline is, Saudi Prince criticizes Obama administration, citing indecision in Mideast. Now, are you concerned that this report will further strain relations with a key, albeit somewhat tense right now, U.S. ally?
Yeah, first, let me make a minor correction to my last statement. It was Falls Church, Virginia, where the hijackers were living prior to 9/11. I think, yes, this will contribute to the fabric of the relationship between the United States and Saudi Arabia, which I think has been publicly distorted. The impression that's given is that Saudi Arabia has been a very loyal, effective ally of the United States. For instance, we'll turn to the fact that they have allowed us to base our drones in Saudi Arabia for operations inside Yemen. But I think there's another darker side of that relationship in which Saudi Arabia, when it has been seen to be in its national interest, such as to be supporting some of the most radical and hateful entities, madrasas that train young children to hate non-Muslims, agencies that have had a long history of collaboration and financial support to Al-Qaeda and other terrorist groups. When that side of the relationship between the United States and Saudi Arabia is known, it's going to cause I think, a sea change, a reevaluation of our relationship.
Now, with the Bush administration now out of office some 4 years, what do you want the Obama administration to do regarding these 28 pages? Do you consider this a cover-up?
I think it's a massive cover-up, and it's not just the 28 pages. It's almost every element of this investigation has faced obstacles. For instance, I mentioned San Diego was a place where we knew a lot. We'd know a lot more if the key witnesses had not been hidden and not allowed to be interviewed, and their testimony taken into account. Probably would have opened up new questions. So this has been a pervasive and thus far effective cover-up of what I think is one of the most significant events, certainly in modern American history.
So you think then the 9/11 investigation should be reopened?
I've been calling for that for a number of years, including in the Huffington Post as recently as last September the 11th.
And here's the story right here on my computer, calling for it reopen the 9/11 investigation now from September 11th, 2012. So then what steps do you specifically implore the Obama administration to take moving forward?
Well, at this point, I would implore them, one, to do what they can do, which is to release the redacted and censored portions of the 9/11 investigation, particularly the 28 pages. Number two, I would urge them to direct their agencies, specifically the FBI, to release documents which are in their possession and which I know from personal knowledge would change the narrative of what happened in significant parts of the pre and post 9/11 tragedy, and make it available to the American people.
Now, how will the United States foreign relations conduct themselves should our relations with Saudi deteriorate over documentation, over revelations that we're talking about today? Should those be made official, where do we look to in the Middle East for allies?
Well, we look first, what kind of allies are we looking for? We're looking for allies with which we truly share common interest and values, and who will be supporting us not just at the good times when we are providing them with billions of dollars for the purchase of their petroleum, but also in the tough times when we're asking them to to avoid taking actions that will be detrimental to U.S. interest.
And who are those allies now in the Middle East? I mean, Egypt had its revolution, had its counter-revolution. You know, Iran we're making deals with now to try to get us talking again, but we're still very far away from having.
Well, I think some of the allies that have proven to be faithful to the United States would include, of course, Israel, Jordan, Turkey. Those are countries that, while we may have occasional disagreements, the fundamental loyalty based on common views of the world and the way in which we believe peoples should be treated have sustained during easy times and tough times.
But if the U.S. alliance with Saudi falls apart because of issues such as this and justifiable issues such as this, then what happens to Saudi Arabia? What happens to the sphere of influence that they belong to?
Well, I don't know what they would do or how they would view this, but is the United States now such a servile nation that it has to say, even a country which may have been a co-conspirator in the murder of 3,000 of our citizens, that we can't react in the way that all people with some sense of personal dignity and a sense of honor would do, that we've got to capitulate just because we're afraid of the adverse reaction of the kingdom if they are called to account. That, I think, is what essentially is happening in this litigation that's now going on, where thousands of American families who suffered the loss of their loved ones are being denied justice by the cover-up of the Saudi involvement.
Senator Graham, I want to thank you very, 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 very much for joining us. It was excellent speaking with you, and please do come again, all right?
Well, let me say I very much appreciate what you and the Huffington Post have been doing, and as I said earlier, I'd call upon other parts of the American journalistic community to see this as it is, a governmental cover-up of one of the most horrific actions taken against the United States from within the United States, and the need to have aggressive journalism to do what it does best, which is to get government to tell the truth and accept its responsibility.